Have you ever seen a Chow Chow? They're big fluffy dogs that come from China that kind of look like overgrown teddy bears. To some people, these dogs can even look like real bears. If you saw a baby Chow alone on the street, you'd probably want to scoop it up and give it a loving home. That's exactly what these people did, at least that's what they thought they did. What actually happened was much different. Keep reading to find out where this family's story went very wrong. If a dog grew to be 3 feet tall and 250 pounds in the span of 2 years, you'd be a little bit worried, right? I mean, I've seen a lot of big dogs in my day, but I've never seen a 250-pound dog. The owners of this ginormous pup thought that growth rate was pretty suspicious too. It was time to do some investigating. They were about to get the shock of their lives. So who are these owners we speak of? Well, Sumu lives with her family in Kunming City, Yunnan, China. While on vacation, Sue and her family came across a stray dog. They examined the little pup and gathered that it must be a Tibetan Mastiff. Either that or a Chow Chow or some kind of combination of those two breeds. Sue and her family had always wanted a pet. Sue's family was so excited to welcome this gorgeous little puppy into their lives, they started brainstorming names for their new pet during the car ride, and finally settled on Little Black. They stopped at a pet store on the way home to get some supplies for Little Black, including a leash and some dog food. Little Black gobbled up all the food very quickly. Quickly they realized they would need quite a lot of food for the little guy. Little Black was settling into his new home with Sue and her family. He was eating well and seemed to have no problem adapting to domestic life. Sue's family was enjoying Little Black's puppy days, but they were also looking forward to seeing what Little Black would look like when he got older. They wondered if he'd look like a Tibetan Mastiff, or if he'd look more like a Chow Chow. Even with his strange growing shape, Sue just assumed he was a different type of dog. That began to change when she realized how fast he was growing in her home. Little Black seemed to have an insatiable appetite. The more he ate, the more he grew, until he wasn't a little dog anymore. The question is, was Little Black really ever a little dog? Sue was getting a little suspicious. Even a Tibetan Mastiff, one of the larger dog breeds, wouldn't grow up this fast. One day, while walking by Little Black's cage, she noticed that her pet was standing on his 2 hind legs. Even seeing Little Black on hind legs didn't make Sue clue in. Little Black kept eating, and a year later, he was more than triple the size he was when the family first found him. Sue said that Little Black was eating a box of fruits and 2 buckets of noodles every day by the time he turned 1. Sue always wanted a big dog, but Little Black was getting to be too big. He wasn't so little anymore. Sue thought they were going to have to change his name to Big Black. Despite his insane growth, Sue was convinced Little Black was just a strange dog. That led Sue to do something very strange. Little Black wasn't just bigger than your average dog, he also seemed to have some features that most other dogs wouldn't have. Sue noticed that her pet had some rather large teeth that she found pretty frightening. Sue also noticed that Little Black was always standing up on his hind paws, which wasn't something she'd seen other dogs do all that often. She was starting to think that there was something wrong with her pet. People were shocked that Sue was still convinced Little Black was a normal dog. Finally, something major convinced otherwise. Sue and her family began to feel afraid of Little Black. This wasn't the little puppy they brought back from vacation. This animal seemed to be dangerous. Whenever they saw Little Black standing on his hind legs and growling, they'd stay away from his cage. Sue started to think that Little Black might not be a dog at all. She was pretty sure that she had brought a black bear into her home. Now that Sue had accepted the truth, she had to figure out what to do with a fully grown bear. So Sue finally realized that Little Black was a wild animal who could be dangerous. Sue was frightened, so she called her local rescue team, hoping that they might know what to do. After that, she walked over to Little Black's cage to feed him. She definitely didn't want a hungry bear on her property. Maybe if he was full, he wouldn't try to eat anything or anyone he shouldn't. After Sue made that phone call, the police of the Iliang County Forest Public Security Bureau showed up at her front door. When the police informed Sue that it was illegal to domesticate wild animals, Sue claimed that she had no idea that Little Black was a bear. She thought that she had been raising a dog for a long time. She had never seen a bear close up, so she wasn't sure what they actually looked like, or so she said. Next, find out what the police said when they laid eyes on Little Black. As soon as the police saw Little Black, they knew that he was a full-grown Asiatic black bear. Sue and her family looked really shocked to find out that they had been raising a wild animal this whole time. Sue told the police that she thought Little Black was just an overgrown Tibetan Mastiff. She told the police about everything she had been feeding Little Black and about how he liked to stand on his hind legs. An Asiatic black bear is also known by the names Tibetan bear, Himalayan bear, or moon bear. This type of bear was typically found in some parts of Asia, which include several countries of Southeast Asia and the Himalayas. It's known for their massive image. Asiatic black bears are known for being omnivorous. It has a typical brownish or black glossy coat, but it has one unique feature. It has a whitish line over its chest that looks like a crescent moon, especially when it stands up. Asiatic black bears are native to China and parts of Asia. It's actually quite common for people in China to run bear farms because some bear internal organs are believed to be helpful in traditional Chinese medicine. It's been reported that 17,000 bears have been raised in almost 70 farms in China alone. Su could have come across a bear cub that had escaped from one of these farms and mistaken the cub for a puppy. If you look at these photos side by side, it's pretty easy to tell which is the dog and which is the bear. Su told the police that she was embarrassed about the mistake she had made, but was it really a mistake? Could Sue have really raised a bear for 2 whole years without realizing what she was doing? If you ask me, I think there's something fishy going on here. The animal rescue team showed up at Sue's house and gave Little Black a quick checkup. After evaluating him, the team determined that Little Black was 1 meter tall. They also said that he weighed 200 kilograms, but they checked Little Black for any scars or lacerations and concluded that he was in good health. The animal rescue team tranquilized Little Black so that he could be transported safely. They loaded him into a truck and took him to the Yunnan Wildlife Rescue Center. Before the rescue team brought Little Black to the Wildlife Rescue Center, they reminded Sue about the illegal nature of owning a bear, or any wild animal for that matter. It's still unclear whether Sue knew Little Black was a bear or not. It seems unlikely that she could raise a bear for 2 years without realizing it. Bear organs are worth a lot of money in China, and Sue may have realized that she was in over her head when Little Black started getting bigger. It's possible that Sue called the Wildlife Rescue Center because she didn't want to get in trouble for owning a bear. She may have thought that by pretending she was unaware of the fact that Little Black was a bear, she could get off scot-free and she wouldn't have to deal with a bear anymore. Then again, this isn't the only time someone adopted a bear thinking it was a puppy. Sue could be telling the truth. There have been other reported cases of people stumbling across, adopting, and raising bear cubs. Its bear cubs can look pretty similar to puppies, especially to the untrained eye. Little Black's story is not unique. Hopefully, Little Black is now being properly taken care of. He can live out the rest of his life in a shelter with other rescued bears, and if he's lucky, he may even get to return to the wild. A similar case happened back in 2015 when a farmer accidentally adopted a black bear thinking that he was a puppy. He named the dog Aka, the bear scorpion. This farmer noticed that his puppy had a really big appetite. The scorpion kept growing, and eventually, the farmer realized that he was raising a bear and not a dog. The farmer still wanted to keep Scorpion, though, because he had formed a bond with the creature. Some neighbors ended up reporting the farmer to the authorities, and Scorpion was removed from the farmer's home. Also in 2015, a farmer from Lijiang rescued what he called a small milk dog while he was hiking in the mountains. He fell in love with the little creature and decided to bring it home. The farmer fed his pet and even shared a bed with the creature until the dog got way bigger than a dog should ever be. The farmer realized that he had been sharing his home with a black bear, and he quickly contacted the police.